happening? Welcome. Today we are going to talk about being tuned to open D, but playing in a key that is not D, which is most songs. Go figure. So let's start with the simplest. I'm tuned to open D tuning. I am okay. Now I'm using my my Black Volt Crazy Horse, which is kind of like a Tweed Deluxe sort of vibe, and I'm using a Expresso Effects Germanium Fuzz. It's kind of like a fuzz face. I really like this combo a lot. I have a lot of power on my volume knob from you know, not clean, but a lot of power there to full on. So I'm going to be messing with that throughout, and that'll be part of the deal. But that's what we're using. And then I have an Arturia Drum Brute Impact. The metronome on this is broken. So I have a hi-hat going on most of my tracks. Now, if I'm tuned to open D and I'm playing in the key of D, that is pretty simple. Okay, nice and easy. Okay, if I'm in the key of E or E flat or F or something, then it's also simple. I have a Hanna Guitars capo. There's a lot of dobro capos out there and lap steel capos. This is the one that I prefer. It's also the reason I have the bandanas up here, because when I put this down, it's got a bar across the top. Those strings are rattling. This just keeps them from rattling. So, there we go. So, we don't really need to cover that, I don't think. That's the key of F now. I could even use it up to G, no problem. I mean, you know, you start getting a little more, I gotta keep raising it up, I gotta keep kind of fighting with what's happening on my guitar. But now my lowest note is here as opposed to down here. If I start getting higher, before I take it off, let's go one higher. If I get up here to like A, I'm cutting off a lot of my guitar. Now, I can still play a lot of stuff, and it's cool, right? I have a bunch of frets up here, but that's pretty shrill and pretty high, and I'm losing. That's my lowest note now. First of all, that same note, open, has a bit more snap, it sounds different, so that's nice. But also, I've lost, you know, I'm gonna lose 4 notes. Like, that's a nightmare to me. So, instead, we're gonna talk about playing in a key like A, which, you know, I can do. So I'm on the 7th fret. Let's start there. I'm on the 7th fret. Let's not do a blues thing. Let's do that's cool. All right, so right. So we have this groove. Let's get a drum beat going. So okay, there we go. I found it again at the end. You know. So let's start with that groove. I'm on the 7th fret. That's A, and that's A. These are 7th fret on the 6th string, and then on the 4th string. Thumb, first finger. Okay, but I'm not doing that. I'm doing 7 on the low string, 5, and then 7. I'm using my middle finger. I don't know why. Again, I'm not a technician. If you're looking for technique, right? MikeWitcher.com. Lessonswithtroy.com. They're gonna have the things that you're looking for. So, but for me, let's worry about the notes. Let's not worry about the technique. I want you to find your way of doing this, your technique. Okay, now, but the notes we can talk about. 7th fret on the 6th string, 5th fret on the 4th string, 7th fret on the 4th string. Second time around, we're going 6th fret, 3rd string, 5th fret, 4th string, and then 7th fret, 4th string. Now, we've talked about this before. If this is your first time here, welcome. I don't do tabs. I want you to use your ears. We're gonna figure this out with our ears and with our emotions. Okay, so now, again, if you haven't seen my other videos, I hope you enjoy this one and you'll decide to go watch them. But we want to just sit on this groove for a second. We want to learn how to play this groove, hard and soft, a lot of dynamics, a lot of cool stuff. A good place to start. Now, I hope you will pause the video, stop it, and just jam on this groove for a little bit. But we're going to assume that you did that. We're going to assume you did that. So the next step is going to be to get the notes around this chord. This is an A chord, but we're not using, it's not an A major, and it's not really an A minor. It's really more of like an A dominant 7 chord if I was to be like playing it. But what that does is it lends us to both the major and the minor scales and the major and minor chord. So we're going to start with the minor pentatonic scale around this chord. And again, if you've watched my other videos, you already know I don't play scales, just like I have to really think about it just to even do that. I don't know how to play the scale up and down. What I do know is little patterns around the chord. So I know the note below and above each note on each string. So on the low string, the 6th string, I know the note is 2 frets down, and I also know that the next note is on the 10th fret, 3 frets up. Learning these patterns around each chord allows you to know where you are, and then we're going to also talk about numbers at some point, not today, but really knowing what the note is in relation to the scale, what the note is in relation to the chord. So the thing I am working on is patterns around each note. I know that is a pattern that I can also use down here, right? I could use it up here. Starting to know where those licks are around the chord and around each note throughout the neck is going to be really helpful. We're going to start, again, around the A chord, which is on the 7th fret. We're using the bottom 3 strings, top 2 strings, and then on the 3rd string, we're going 6th fret. So, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 6, 7, 7. Also, for each note, there's a note above and below. The next note in the scale. Below is all going to be across the 5th fret. And then above is all on the 10th fret. I added one note, which is the 8th fret on the 3rd string. I'm going to put up a diagram of the notes I'm using. But the point is this. I'm learning where the notes are. Now, the next trick is not to play the notes up and down in a scale, because that's not going to really be helpful. Instead, I'm going to get the groove going. And then, so I've got the groove going. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start adding notes. First one note, just one note at a time. Now, pause it. Pause the video. Again, pause it. Just do that. Just do the groove. And then one note. Find the notes that sound good. Find the ones that don't. Find the ones that speak to you, because that's how you start to develop your voice, is using your ear. Next, make it 2 notes. Now, let's make it 2 notes. I don't know if you can see where I'm going with this, but next, make it 3 notes, or just start to add some licks. We're starting to figure out the things that are creating our voice. I'm also gonna, you know what else I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give this kick a little bit of a note, and just to have a little more love. So I'm getting really dialed in on my 1 chord. And then, so even if I add other chords, let's adjust this slightly. So even if I add other chords, it's still a safe place. I'm still using the notes around my 1 chord to play against the D, which is the 4 chord. But I could start to learn these patterns around this chord, which, if you've watched my other lessons, you will have learned there is one called the 4 chord and the 5 chord. It's covering these exact notes. The notes around the 4 chord, the notes around the 5 chord. But the key is this. I'm defining the chord, I'm playing the groove, and then I'm playing a lick. Because the key is the groove. The key is the timing. It doesn't matter how fast you're playing or how slow you're playing. I would rather hear somebody playing slow and in time than fast and not in time, right? If I'm playing just like... it gets boring really fast, but if somebody's playing... that's like, oh, that's a song. I've heard that before somewhere, probably, right? It's all about the groove, and I'm gonna say that as many times as it takes to sink in for myself as well as everybody else. But it's all about the groove. So I'm gonna work on playing the groove. I'm gonna use a drum machine or something. You could have just a metronome. Which is fine, but it's boring, right? This is not as fun as getting something. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I hope you will like and comment and subscribe and share and hit the bell icon. Is that what I'm supposed to say? I think those are the things. So that YouTube thinks that I'm a valued part of its community. You guys are rad.